Hey everybody, and welcome to our Sourcepass webinar today, where we're going to be talking about managing tasks and projects with Microsoft Planner and To-Do. This is a special episode. We tend to run about one of these a quarter, where the scope of the discussion is going to be geared towards those in the public sector. We have our Sourcepass Gov business practice, which specializes in support of local government, education, and actually we do have a strong base of police departments that we work with. But the only thing that's kind of unique about this presentation is that some of the examples Jolynn will give as we get into the meat of the presentation will be kind of customized for that audience. But if you're not part of a public sector organization, the skills you'll learn today are still applicable for you as well. So we welcome everybody to these sessions. It's just a kind of specialized version of our learning series webinars with a little bit of a public sector angle. So I am Dave Del Vecchio. I am the VP of Marketing for Sourcepass and I'm a regular host of our webinar series. And joining me today and presenting will be Jolynn Reen. Those of you that have taken part in previous webinars with Sourcepass have probably met Jolynn in the past, as she's been working with us for a couple of years as we've been presenting on topics related to the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. And as I mentioned, this is a special Gov Series webinar. We tend to run these on the third Wednesday of the month every quarter. We've got ones planned for April and July and so forth through the rest of the year. However, now you can actually register for these on the same events page as our other webinars, which can be found at sourcepass.com/events. In addition, we have our regular learning series and digital transformation series webinars. The learning series tends to run on the second Wednesday of every month. The digital transformation series runs on the fourth Wednesday of every month. And you can also register for those at sourcepass.com/events. All prior webinars have been shared on our video library. Usually about a week after the live session, we'll have the production ready to post and share the recorded session. So if you're looking for any topics that we may have run over the last couple of years, please feel free to go to sourcepass.com/video-library and you can look up former webinar sessions that are not gatekept. You don't even have to put in an email to view them. They're available for public consumption. So you can get both of those resources, the registrations for future events and access to video library off of the Insights menu on the main page if you just go to sourcepass.com, if you can't remember these direct links. Whoops, one slide too many. So in today's session, we will be using the Q&A button. Kat Irizarry on our marketing team will be monitoring in the background. You can also add things in chat, although sometimes we have a tendency to miss chats questions. So we do actually encourage the Q&A because that actually queues up on the back end for our benefit to make sure we try to address those towards the end of the session. And as the session ends today, you'll receive a survey request. We do ask that you complete the survey for us, both to let us know how we did on today's session, if you found the topic was useful, but also if you have ideas for other sessions you'd like to have us run. We do refer to those surveys as we plan our calendar for the year. So do keep that in mind. And with that, Jolynn, I will turn the floor over to you and lead our discussion for the day.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Dave. So as Dave said, welcome everyone to our session today. Here we're going to be talking about working with managing tasks and project in Microsoft Planner and To-Do. I do want to start with kind of giving you a few examples. I've got about 10 different examples that I want to run by you first, so that as I'm actually showing you the To-Do app and the Planner app, I want you to be thinking about different ways that you can be utilizing these applications based on the different examples that I'll share with you. So the first example that I wanted to share is managing public records could be an option for you to use Microsoft Planner. So what you could do is create a plan that's we always give a plan a name, and then once you have it named, we can add in, and I'll show you how all this works, but you can add in different buckets. Buckets are different ways that we are going to organize the plan. And some suggested buckets for this would be new request, if it's an FOIA request for 2026 being the name of it, you could have a bucket for new requests, in review, waiting on legal, pending payment, completed. You could assign different tasks then to the different coworkers or whoever it is that needs to be assigned to those tasks. You can attach files, you'll be able to put in different details about the task, and of course have due dates and start dates and different ways for tracking things as well. So this would be one example. Another one would be tracking grant and funding projects. This is actually something that I've done in the past. So if you have a grant implementation that you want to create a planner for, you could have buckets that could be related to things like application, award, procurement, implementation, reporting, closeout. So all the different facets of the phases of that project could be tracked. Once again, you can assign those tasks to the appropriate parties, etc. But a third example would be legislative or policy tracking. Great for anyone as a city clerk, county board, etc. Different buckets could be drafting, legal review. So think about these buckets as I'm mentioning these. These buckets are where you can put the tasks so that all tasks that are related to a specific area, like public comment or committee review approval, etc. The tasks go in those buckets, so it keeps them organized. So the benefits of this one is ensuring no steps are missed, and that's kind of a general kind of benefit with Microsoft Planner, is to make sure that something that needs to be done to complete that project that you're working on doesn't get missed. This way too, we can cross-departmentalize the communication, make sure everybody has the same understanding as to what needs to happen and what is completed versus what we still have in the works. Another one could be managing inspections. This could be a very commonly used one for building inspectors, health departments, fire departments, environmental teams. The plan could be called something similar to 2026 scheduled inspections. We could have different buckets related to, restaurant, daycares, construction, fire safety, etc., where the tasks go into those buckets for the assignments and the details to be kept. So it's very organized, and you're going to see some great views that we can also use in Microsoft Planner to really help us know where we are at with completing our tasks. Emergency management and incident response is another example of a project that you could be working on that could be tracked within Microsoft Planner or to do. I'll explain the difference between them and when you might use one over the other, but great for cities or counties, emergency operations, for plan updates, storm response communication, annual training and drills. Definite buckets that you could be using for things like that: preparedness, response, recovery. So if you kind of think about, these are the tasks we need to do, and how do they all fit together? That's where these buckets are going to come into play. So just a few more that I'll go through. Hiring or onboarding for HR. That would be an example, using Planner to track onboarding tasks. Badge creation, IT accounts that we need to have set up. Security access, HR paperwork, equipment requests. You could really create a template that could be used for tracking new hires. Now there's annual budget preparation and a lot of other things that we could be using. But first, let's talk about using Microsoft To Do. So To Do can be accessed multiple ways. An easy way to get to it is to actually go to Microsoft Outlook. So on your navigation on the left-hand side in Outlook, you're going to find, let me get that screen shrunk back down there. Sorry about that. You could find the blue check mark that is going to be for your to-dos. So what exactly are you going to use to-dos for? Well, one of the things that you could use to-dos for is to keep track of anything that you need to do. Not something coming from Planner, because that's going to be tracked through Planner. But Microsoft To Do is where you would go to track anything that you personally want to do yourself. So something that's not related to a bigger project that you're working on with other people. It is a personal task list just for yourself. Could it be shared? In some ways, yes. But think of it as your personal task list. So when you look at the left-hand side, when you go into the To-Do app, which by the way, you can access on your phone, you can access through your Microsoft apps, specifically through Outlook is where we normally use it. You're going to see that it does have an integration with Microsoft Planner as well. Um, but the navigation pane on the left-hand side really has two sections to it, a top and a bottom section. On the top section, I'm currently clicked on the category called tasks. And you can see on the right-hand side that I've got this list of tasks that I need to do. And it has different columns of detail. You can see that it's got a due date column, and I have some red dates that are showing up. Those are the ones that are basically overdue that I need to take care of. I've got an importance column. You can do some different sorting and grouping at the top right. So if you want to group tasks based on specific aspects of it, they've got some bells and whistles like that. But how does this all work? What if you have a task that you need to take care of and you want to make sure it's on your list so that you can track it? Well, very easily at the very top of this window on the right-hand side, your cursor is blinking in that box for add a task right up here. So I can just come in and type the task that I want to complete. Like if I'm going to be doing some security documentation, I can type the name of it in and just simply press, oops, sorry. Let me do that again here. Sorry, that was me. Security documentation. And if I just press enter, it automatically adds it to my task list. So it ends up here, which by the way, it already did it, add it, but so I have it in there twice, but that's okay. So just so you know, when you click on the name of the task, it gives you a pane on the right-hand side that you can fill out. You can make it wider to give it a wider view, but otherwise that's where you're going to go to enter in the details about your task. So starting at the very top of the right-hand side, you have an add step. What that can be used for is to add in the details. So let's say that for this security documentation, I need to first review. So I'm going to click where it says add step. I first need to review old docs, the old documentation. And then I need to write new procedures. I can be putting in the different steps that I need to complete the overall task. Just so you know, that's a way that you could keep track of the individual things you need to do. And then each one of those has a circle that we can check to say we completed that step of the overall task. It also has an add to my day. I'll come back and talk about that here in just a second, but I have a remind me. So when do I want to be reminded about this task? I can pick an actual date and time. So I'm going to say I want to be reminded on Friday at 3 o'clock. When is this due? I'm going to say it's due on the 27th. I could do this as a reoccurring task. I could pick a category that I want to assign to it. I also can attach files to it. So if I had a file that I was using that was related to it, we could attach a file. And then we can add in notes where we can put in the details of the task itself. Okay. So lots of great ways to kind of keep everything in one central location. Plus, I like having those reminders that are going to pop up and let you know, hey, by the way, you need to do this task. Now, when I'm done, and by the way, what if this is an important task? At the top right or from the task list itself, I can click the star icon. When you click the star icon for a task, it has a filtered category on the left-hand side for anything that you mark as important. So the star is for important tasks, and if I go to the left and click important, it's only going to show the tasks that I have marked as important. I still have all the other tasks, but these are the ones that I considered important. And let's say that I actually looked at my calendar today and I have some time to work on that security documentation and to contact Ash about working with the database, Access database. Those are two tasks that I want to get done today. How you can do that to make sure you have things ready for you to work on when you have that open time during your day is you can actually click on any of the names of the tasks, whatever task you have, go to the right-hand side and click Add to My Day. You can click Add to My Day. What that is going to do when you select a task is it is adding it to a category on the left-hand side that filters the tasks for just showing you the ones that you marked as you want to work on them today. What this allows you to do is to focus on the things that you want to get done. You don't have to worry about the other 20 tasks you need to do. Just focus today on getting these two tasks done. If you happen to complete them, you could always go back to your list again and add more to your day. What's going to happen with this My Day is you'll be able to see this and all your other tasks in Planner as well. There's a My Day in Planner because even tasks that are assigned to you, you can add to My Day, not just from to-dos, your personal tasks, but even tasks from Planner can be added to My Day. The huge benefit of that is that when you're looking at your schedule for the day, you can focus on getting these done. At the end of the day, they disappear out of that category. They're still in your task list and the important if they were marked important, but they're going to disappear out of My Day because it's a new day. Every day you start fresh with saying, these are the tasks I want to work on. Now, just a quick run through, because I want to get to Planner, but just to run through the other categories that you have on the left, there is a category called completed. So anytime that you click that circle on the left to say you completed a task, it's going to add it to this list filtered to just show you the completed tasks. These tasks don't disappear till you delete them. If you have a task that you've completed and you don't need to see it anymore, you could go to the right-hand side down to the bottom. Oops, sorry. You could go to that task and you could delete that task out. Select any task and you can always delete it. Back to the left-hand side real quick, we also have a category called Planned. Planned is going to group tasks together based on date ranges for the tasks that you put in a due date. So if you have due dates, you actually said you're planning to work on those tasks during that time, and these are ways that you could look at the groups based on date ranges for the tasks you have due dates for. I don't use this real often, to be honest, but it is an option that you have. And then also on the left-hand side, you have a category called Assigned to Me. This is actually the tasks assigned to you from Microsoft Planner. So you don't have to go to Planner to see all the tasks coming from different plans that you're assigned to, because you might be a part of 4 different plans coming from Teams and coming from SharePoint or just coming from a regular planner. And you don't have to go to those individual plans and see what you're assigned to. You can have that as a filtered list right here in To Do. Makes it so much easier to know what you have going on. I don't need to worry about what other people are working on all the time. This is what I need to work on. If I want any of these to be added to my day, I just click on the task, go to the right-hand side, click Add to My Day, and that plan task coming from Microsoft, that assigned task, I should say, coming from Microsoft Planner will automatically be added here. Pretty great. So anyway, back to the left-hand side for a minute, we also have a category called All. If you click the all category, it's going to show you all the categories of here's all the planned tasks, here's all the flagged emails. So if you're a flagger in Outlook emails, if you right click, do the flag kind of a scenario, they automatically get tagged here because when you flag an email, it marks it as a to-do. So it's automatically going to show up here, which is fantastic because it is a to-do. But when you click on any of the flagged emails, which by the way, there is a category on the left-hand side just for flagged mail. But you can see on the right-hand side, it shows you the actual email, the contents of it, and you can click open to go to the actual message. So pretty great how it knows that that's an email and gives you the capabilities of that. There's also just the regular task category. Then there's different grouped tasks that I have here on the left-hand side where it says HR insurance, marketing, workflows committee. We can create different lists and put lists in a group. So if you personally have a bunch of tasks you need to work on that are related to a project that you are doing, you could create a list on the left-hand side. Now, we don't have enough time today to go through all of that, but just so you're aware, you could do that. So we have a lot of different ways that we can be viewing what needs to happen with our tasks. On the left-hand side, the last category I was going to mention is that flagged email. So if you have flagged any messages, you can always see those in here, whether they have a date or not, you would be able to access those flagged messages. Okay. Now, of course, once you mark it as completed, whether you do that in the email or you do that here, like I have this one, if I click that circle, it's going to mark it as completed back in the email too, because we are fully connected to Outlook. We're fully connected to Teams, to Planner, to SharePoint. We have a lot of connection all over the place. So pretty great. So that's all I wanted to talk about for right at this moment with to-dos. I'll talk more about it when we get into Microsoft Planner, because like I said, they are connected. So how is Planner different than to-do? Well, we do have different ways to access Planner. Planner can actually be used from an internet browser. I have it pinned actually up on my internet browser, so I could open up my internet browser and I have this icon right up here for Planner. Otherwise, you could see the address. So it's planner.cloud.microsoft is the address. You can log into your Microsoft account, go to your apps, click on Planner. And what you're going to see when you do that is on the left-hand side is going to be the navigation pane. It can be shrunk up if you don't need it, but you can see some similarities to to-dos. Here's my day. My day is showing me the tasks that I had added to the category My Day. Sorry, I got a tickle coming. So if you just want to focus on those tasks, you can do that right here from Planner. And these happen to be private tasks in this column here for private because they're actually coming from to do. But this one, look over 2025 class list, is actually coming from a planner. So you could see the name of the plan in that column for plan. You could see the due date, the importance level, the progress. The progress can be managed right from here as well, where we can say it's not started, it's in progress, it's been completed. So you have different ways that you can track things when you are in Planner that we don't have in To Do. It's got some extra features. But how do you get into all of your tasks? Well, if you go to the left and click My Tasks, there's different categories at the top. All category is going to show you every type of task, whether it's private from To Do or if it's assigned to you from a plan. If I do private tasks, that's just going to be, and by the way, we have grid view and board view up at the top. So whether I'm on all category, private tasks, etc. There's a board view, which is like a card, and then grid view is columns and rows, just so you're aware. But if I look at this, you could see that under private tasks, here's that security documentation. Do I have to go to do to manage that task? Actually, I don't. I can do it right from here. And you can see the priority is important. It hasn't started yet, but I want to change it to in progress. I could do these kind of things directly here in Planner without having to go back to do, even though it is part of to do. But just so you could see, if I go to the category at the top for assigned to me, these are all tasks that have been assigned to me. You could see I have the name of the plan it's coming from, the due date, the priority, etc. I also have flagged emails as a category. You could see I have it's also showing completed flagged emails or tasks as well, just so you know they're all together. But on the left-hand side, we also have this category called My Plans. Under the My Plans will be an alphabetized, or I should say, a list of every plan that you are a part of. You can create a new plan from in this planner as well. And then you could assign people to tasks, and they can then become a member of the plan. So people that aren't a part of the plan, we can't assign tasks to. So they do need to be a member of the plan to get assigned to those tasks. But this, you could see, it's got the name, it's got the privacy, whether it's shared or it's only for myself, because technically I could have a plan that is just for myself. I could decide later that I want to share it so that I can assign other people to it, but technically you could keep it as just for yourself. I don't usually do that, to be honest, but you could. You can also see the last time it was accessed and shared with. It shows you the name of where it's coming from, like this one called AP Tasks. Just so you know, if I click on it, it's going to show me my different buckets. I had mentioned those buckets when we were talking about different ways to create, or different ideas, examples of creating and using planners. So if you wanted to do the hiring and onboarding for HR, that would be the name of it. And then you could have different buckets for that, like badge creation, IT accounts, security access, HR paperwork, equipment requests, etc. So just so you're kind of thinking about, here's some options that you have, or if you're going to do an annual budget preparation. And as a matter of fact, why don't I create one of those for you so that you could actually see how that could actually work? I'll pick out one of these that we kind of talked about. So let's say that we're going to do the tracking grants and funding projects. On the Planner app, I could go straight to New Plan at the bottom left, and it opens a window showing basic, premium, and plan with project manager. We're not going to talk about premium and plan with project manager today. That would be a more advanced feature, and you have to have a specific license to get those features. But I'm just going to do a basic. I'm going to click the icon at the top for basic, which takes me into a brand new plan where I'm going to give it the name, and I'm going to name it Tracking Grants and Funding Projects. And then I could say I want to add it to my pinned plan, which, as you can see on my left-hand side, I have that pinned category. So if I want it to be available, I could. And if I already had a group that was created through Microsoft, I could add it to an existing group. I won't do that right now, but just so you could see, all I'm going to do is click create. I'm not inviting anybody just yet. I'm going to add a few things in. I'm going to create some buckets, and I'll create a couple of tasks just to show you how this could work. So first off, I'm going to keep this bucket on the left-hand side called to do. That is kind of like a general column. You can always move tasks from one bucket to another. On the right-hand side in this main part of the window, I'm going to go to where it says add new bucket. And I'm going to say that I want this first bucket to be called application. Whoops. I guess I didn't spell that correctly. I'm going to press enter. It automatically creates that bucket. Another one could be award. Oops, I did my cap lock. I'm going to add another bucket, and maybe you would do procurement. I won't go any further with those, but just so you can see procurement, you could add these buckets and then put the tasks related to those in those buckets. Okay, so let's say that under procurement, I want to add a task that is going to be related to how the process is going to work for the orders. I'm going to go to procurement. I'm going to click under that into the add task, and it takes me into entering a task name, setting a due date, and then putting in who I want to assign it to. And I'm just going to put in orders, just a very generic for right now. I'm going to click for set the due date, and I'm going to say that it's actually due February 16th. And for the assignment, I'm the only person that's currently in this plan. So I'm the only person on the list when I go to assign. But if I wanted to assign this to a coworker, I'm starting to type in student 1. I wanted it to find it for me. It's not finding it, but that's okay for right now because I'm going to come back and add members to this. I'm going to go ahead and just press enter for right now. I want to add that task in. So this task has now been added. It's right here called orders. That task is now added to the procurement column. If you have other things like maybe we want to keep track of, financials, when something needs to be awarded, I'm going to go to the award column. And I'm going to put in add task, and I'm going to say dates for awards. And I'm going to say that that's going to be due the 30th of January, and I'm going to click add task. So it's really a matter of setting up these buckets either before, during, or after you get started. Then add the tasks that are going to go inside those buckets. Now, what's going to happen is you can always go back to a task and add more detail. How you can do that is by going to the name of the task and clicking on the name. Just left click on the name, and what's going to happen then is it brings up this window where you have a lot more detail that you can add in. So starting at the top, you could assign somebody to it. So once again, if I wanted to assign somebody, I can't just start typing their name in here because I don't have any members. I could only choose myself. So let me add a member, add somebody, and then I'll show you how to assign it. But I could add a label. So I could color, all these different color codes can be renamed by clicking the edit label name, the pencil icon. Because if I want a specific color to be related maybe to a department, which department is actually responsible for those tasks, I could actually choose that label, type in the name of the department. So maybe it's going to be the finance office, the finance department. So I want that to be the label for finance. So every time I put in a task, I can label it as finance so that we can see all the tasks labeled for finance together. We could go in and we could change the progress, change the priority, put in when this task needs to start based on its due date. You could put in different notes, and then down at the bottom is a checklist. Checklist is like the steps and to-dos where we can go to that checklist and put in the individual things that we need to do to complete the dates for awards. So I need to contact awards company. I'm just kind of generically putting some things in here. I need to create a tracking method. You just add in the different tasks that you need to do. Once you're done, it automatically is being saved. You just close that window and you're going to see your checklist underneath the name of the task. So once something is completed, you don't have to open the task to check it off the list. You can do it right from here. So if I click the circle in front of any of these items, it's going to remove it from the view, but not from the task itself. And you can see it's got a tally. One task is completed out of a total of 2 tasks for that overall task, so the checklist. Pretty cool that we have that. But let's go back and say, okay, I've got some of the plan created. I now want to invite other people to the plan. I'm going to go to the top right. One way to do this is we could go to share. We could create a group, or we could add this to an existing group where we could be inviting members by going down to the bottom where it says add members to create a new group. If you didn't have a group already created, that would be one way to do things. Or at the top right, at that share, you could say add to an existing group. And if you already had a group created, you could click on the drop down and choose what group it is. So here's an employee onboarding or emergency response team, HR department, etc. If I wanted to add it to any of those groups, I could. Now I'm just going to do create group. I'm going to say, because I want it to be a new group called tracking grants. I'm going to click where I want to add my members in. I'm going to add student 1, and then I'm going to add a generic at gmail.com. I'm going to click create group, and it's going to automatically invite them. They'll get an email notification letting them know that they were added to the group, to the plan. Now we can assign those people to the actual plan. I could click see details so I could see the details of who is part of that group. I can always go back and add more people later, but I'm just going to close that window for right now. And let's say that I need to assign this orders to that student 1 that I added in as a member. I could do that by going to the card, because right now my view that I'm in, by the way, there's view icons at the top of the window. I'm on the view called board, just so you know. So it looks like little cards. If I go to this card for this task, I can click on the icon for the people for assignment on the bottom right without going into the task itself. Then I could choose student 1 or myself or whoever to assign to that task. And then you could just click off that when you're done. Excuse me, I got that tickle back. So just so you could see, once people are members of it, they become part of that group for that plan, you can automatically assign them. Well, what if we have a plan that we created in Microsoft Teams? Because Microsoft Teams is another way that you can actually create a plan. So here in Planner is one way where we could go to the left-hand side, go to My Plans. We could open up any plan that you want to open, because you've got a list of all the different plans that you have. Here's the one that I was just working on. So we can do it that way. But what if the plan is going to be part of a team in Microsoft Teams? If you go to your Microsoft Teams, on the left, go to Teams, go to the team you're working with. Like maybe I have this accounting department team, and I go to the accounts payable channel, and we want to have a task list that we're going to be able to track all the tasks based on that group. Or if I'm part of marketing department, I'm part of the emergency response team, whatever the case might be, just go to that team, go to the channel, and then you can be adding in. So I went to this emergency response team, I went to the channel, and then up at the top where you have your tabs, you can create a new plan to be shared with everybody that is a part of that team. So how you do that is to go to the plus sign for adding a new tab. Then you can say apps, click apps. From there, you can choose planner, and then you're going to click save. It's going to set up the plan, and at the bottom on the right-hand side, you can create a new plan, or you could add an existing plan. So if you had a plan that was already created, you could add that to this. But I'm going to create a brand new plan. I'm going to say new plan. I get that same window that you saw when I was in Microsoft Planner, which, by the way, there's templates that come with it. So if you're going to be doing a project management, you're going to be doing a SWOT analysis. Oh, I'm sorry, that's part of premium. Um, Let me go to simple plan. And on the left-hand side, because I have the project manager, I have the additional tools that are part of basic, the license, which is basic, which comes free with all of your Microsoft 365 accounts. Some of these templates are going to be related to the premium plan, which is an extra license. Just so you could see, some of them will have both. So like if I was going to do a business plan, or I want to do HR employee onboarding, I could use this template to get started. So I don't have to start from scratch. So this time I'm going to use this template. So let's say that for this emergency response team, we're going to be doing some employee onboarding, and I want to start with this template. Otherwise, you can always start with a blank one to make it easier to just kind of manage it yourself. But I wanted you to see one of these templates. So I'm doing this employee onboarding and I'm clicked on basic. At the bottom right, I'm going to click use template. I could change the name and I could give it a description, but I'm going to leave that and just click create. It's going to add it as the tab at the top of the window. Everybody will have access to this plan, and everybody that is a part of this team will be able to be assigned to these different tasks. Notice that it came with buckets. It's got a post offer, acceptance, it's got technology, paperwork, orientation, feedback, and if I scroll over, it's got add new bucket. So it's already got a couple of tasks already entered. So if I go to where it says set employee start date in the system, I could come in and I could say this is due on this date, etc., etc. I could add in all those details. Now, if I go to the top though and I click assign, I'm the only person that's a part of that team right now. So if I try and type in somebody else's, I can't add in anybody else to assign them unless they're a part of that team. So when you go to add somebody, this is going to be a little bit different. So I started typing student. From Planner, I couldn't just add somebody. They had to be a part of the group. But look what's going to happen here in the plan. It came up saying that student one is a non-member of that team. I'm going to click on that person and it brings up this window saying, okay, I can assign this task to that person and I can add them as a user to the plan. I'm going to say assign and add. So that person could be added that way. Now, of course, I could always add that person as a member to the team because most likely they will need access to other things as well. So just so you could see, I could go back to the team itself, right click and say add member, and I could simply add student one as a member of the team. They, of course, will get notified. And as a matter of fact, back to Outlook for just a second, I wanted to mention that in Outlook, I'm going to go to my email and I'm going to open up my account for student one. You can see that student one has some tasks, or I should say, has some emails that came in. First one is this was assigned to this person. Planner are tracking grants and funding projects. I assigned a task to that person. It gives them the ability of getting into that whole entire plan from this area. They will be able to access it just by going to Planner too. But also I've been assigned to this task here for this employee onboarding, and I can open it in the browser or open it in the Teams app. So just so you could see, you've got a quick link right within the email notification letting you know that you were assigned to those tasks. And in the to-do, they're automatically added when you are assigned to a task. So it's updating to-do as well as Microsoft Planner. And by the way, if you have tasks that are late because you put due dates on them, you're going to get a notification via email letting you know that you have late tasks. So it says, hi student, you have a task due. So it's showing me that it was 7 days late. I can open it. Here's another one reminding me that I have late tasks. It will remind you when you have tasks coming up that are due, and it will remind you if you have late tasks so that we keep up on getting these tasks completed. So it's got built-in notifications for you, which is absolutely fantastic. So anyway, back to Microsoft Teams, to this planner where I was putting in this employee onboard. That's already ready to go here. So you could see I've got all these different buckets. I could go to any of these tasks. I could add in my details. I could be putting in due dates, those kind of things. Who do I want to assign these to? And you can assign them to more than one person. So I just assigned this task to both myself and student one. I'm going to close it and you could see the people icon at the bottom of that grid. So this is how you could use Microsoft Planner. It's automatically shared by default in Teams through the channel with the people that are a member of that channel and or team. But there are some different views at the top that I want to show you. First off, up at the top, you have grid view. Grid, just like in To Do, is going to be columns and rows of your tasks. You can edit the information just by going to that column. Like if this task needs to start Friday because it's due on the 29th, I don't have to open the task to make changes. And then board view is what we had by default, but then we also have a schedule view. The schedule view gives you a calendar view showing you the date ranges of the tasks that need to be completed. We also have charts at the top. Charts are related to giving you a dashboard look of the overall plan itself. So you have a status column where it shows how many tasks are not started yet, how many are late, completed, etc. We have buckets where you can see if they're not started, in progress, or we could add in if they're completed, we could add in if they're late if we needed to. And then we also have the priority. And then down below, we have it based on members. So we can have different colors if we wanted to as well for each of the members. But you could see that Jolynn has one task that she hasn't started. Student 2 has 2 tasks they haven't started yet. So it's a great way to be able to see at a glance what is going on with your project. So I really like these views. But also, if you have the premium, you have the timeline view, which is a Gantt chart view. On the top right, you have filters. So if you want to filter your list, so let's say that I'm in grid view and I want to filter the list to only show based on due date, and I want to see what's happening this week or next week, whatever the case would be, you could do that. So you could filter by important, urgent, by buckets. So if I want to just work on orientation tasks, I could filter by bucket. Okay. So just so you see, you have multiple options for different ways to look at things. So I really like that filter capability that we have at the top right. So Microsoft To Do is a personal task list just for yourself, but it integrates directly with Microsoft Planner. I use Microsoft Planner so much that I don't always go to the team, to the channel, and then click on the tab for the task list. For me, I go straight to Planner, and I don't usually use it on my internet browser as much as I do here directly in Teams. I have added the Planner icon to my navigation on the left, so that when I click on it, it looks exactly the same and works exactly the same as it did through the internet browser. Now, how did I get it there? Well, let me remove it first. So now it's not here, but if I go to this ... view more apps, you can choose or search for Planner. Once you open Planner, if you want it to stay on the left-hand side, right-click the icon, left-click on Pin, and it will keep the Planner icon on the left. So I can always have Planner available anytime I need it. Now I just opened up the navigation pane from this icon at the top left here. That will shrink and expand the navigation. If I want to go into all my plans, I can go here. If I want to go into my tasks, I can go here. And if I need a task for my to-dos, I can click private. And these are all my tasks coming from to-do. So it doesn't matter what you're in. You can work on planner tasks and to-do tasks through Planner. And you have access to the planner tasks when you're in to-do. So they have that nice integration connected together, which is, for me, it's absolutely fantastic. I don't have to worry about going to another place to open up another app, blah, blah, blah. I can have everything all together. But that pinned category on the left-hand side, so if you take a task list and say you wanted to pin it, this is where it goes. Excuse me, I got tickled. And when you look at the left-hand side, I've got this project called New Office Building. So our company is building a new office building. I can click on that and it's going to automatically open that plan. Or if I go back to this PM plan for the accounting department, it will automatically open that plan. And because it's a project, I should say a planner, coming from the Planner app, I'll get all the views at the top depending on what I'm using with that plan. This happens to be a premium, but just so you're getting the idea as to how this works. So we get the different views at the top for being able to manage those tasks. You could just have everything in one bucket. You might end up with 2 buckets, 3 buckets. It all depends on how many tasks you're going to be managing and how you want to organize them. I like being able to filter by bucket sometimes. Sometimes I filter by member. Then I can take a screenshot of it, send it to the person that's responsible for those tasks and say, hey, here's the tasks that you have on your task list. How are you doing on those? Or, kind of follow up with them that way. Other ways to communicate, of course, too, you can just chat with them and things like that. But great options for being able to track what you need to get done. And the system will not let you forget. So make sure you're putting in when the task is due, when you need to start it, so that you get those notifications. Because if it doesn't have any dates, it doesn't know when to notify you. Okay? But I got to tell you, this to me is something I cannot live without. Dave, are you using Planner or To Do?
Got on mute. Had been quite a bit in the past. I will
Good.
say, you start getting kind of into the flow of it. It, really starts to become part of your regular workflow. One thing that I found with Planner was that like any sort of platform, it kind of takes a little bit of time for people to get used to. And those that were married to other platforms like the Monday.coms of the world will have their favorites and espouse why they prefer those versus others. But for kind of getting off the ground and making, it's funny. I'm sitting at a desk. I think I mentioned I'm in our Melville office today. Getting away from your, sticky notes and trying to keep track of everything all over the place. I actually found it was immensely useful, particularly when I first transitioned into the leading the marketing team, because the previous marketing department folks did not have any sort of centralized repository for keeping track of the open projects that were going on, and Planner became our lifeblood for those first 6 to 12 months.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I seriously cannot live without them, and having that My Day so that you can focus on what you seriously want to work on for that specific day is great. I really like that piece.
Yeah, absolutely. And like with most things, Microsoft, the fact that you can, integrate things like Planner into your tabs for your team within
Yes.
Teams and so forth, it just makes it easy to kind of bring all of the information
Yeah.
together under the one
Well,
umbrella.
and what we didn't mention is it does have the integration with Power Apps as well, where we can create different workflows. So if you're the person responsible for that plan, you could always create a workflow that says, as soon as somebody else marks a task as completed, send me a notification, or update it, once all tasks are completed in this bucket, post a comment in the channel, those kind of things. So it's great to have that full integration with your Microsoft. And I'm a Monday.com user as well. And I got to tell you, I still revert back to Planner. I like it better than Monday.com. And I know there's other people that prefer Monday.com, but I'm also a Microsoft project user. I like the Gantt chart options and the full capability of keeping track of costs and things when you're managing a project too, which we can get integration with an extra license here through Planner to have those capabilities. But
yeah, and the fact that it's available as part of most 365 subscriptions, it's like if your world is tied up with sticky notes and a good breeze would destroy your day in your workflow, it's a great way to kind of make that transition into starting to get used to working in an electronic kind of project management, task management platform. It's really only when you start to hit certain lack of functionality within the platform that someone might need to look at something like a Monday.com or any of the larger scale kind of cloud-based
like
project
Microsoft
management tools.
Yeah,
exactly. But I'll tell you, it's a great opportunity to kind of get started on working into that sort of a platform. And a lot of times it's basic workflow. I know and you're probably aware of, obviously, Jolynn as well. They say like the average word user uses like 3% of the capabilities of the application. For most applications of what people would be looking for a management platform to do, Planner's going to have the capability.
Yes.
Where we ran into it was cross-team. Cross-team sometimes gets to be a little bit more tricky, and that's where having an agnostic platform like Monday made sense because we have such a distributed workforce. We had that's where we moved our marketing board over because all of our other teams were doing their planning in Monday, so it made sense to get into the universe everybody else was working. But up until that point, like I said, the whole first year that I was running the marketing department, we ran all of our project management through Planner.
Nice.
Culture committee too. That was the last committee I think that gave up Planner, was the culture committee. We used to plan all of our internal culture events through Planner as well.
And I like that you brought up the sticky notes, because that's how people can get started with To-Do, is by taking all those scratch notes, those sticky notes, the notebooks with things that you write down that you need to do. Those are the things that you can take and get started to enter those in Microsoft To-Do. And I love the fact that Planner and To-Do are right here on your phone as well. Okay. Did we have any questions come through, Dave?
No, I was just going to offer that prompt that as we start to reach the bottom of the hour here, being conscious of everybody's time, looks like actually someone's trying to raise their hand.
We got a couple questions. We have 5 questions in.
Okay, cool.
5.
Oh, there it is. Okay, they're starting to pop in. Jolynn, are you able to see Q&A, or do you want us to read the questions off to you?
Let me go into Q&A here, see if I can see. Yes. So which project app are you referring to? Central, Migrator, Board, something else? So when we talk about Microsoft project, is that what you were referring to?
I believe that was I think that was based on the timing of when the question was asked. I think so.
Yes, but I'm not familiar with what you mean by Central, Migrator, Board. So Microsoft Project, which is a different license outside of 365, is a full project management application that integrates with Microsoft 365, just so you're aware. It's been around for many, many, many years. Okay, so if you have more detail you want to put in there, let me know. Is there a way to restore if card get accidentally deleted? I am not aware of a way to get those back, unfortunately. I've been asked that before. I've tried to do it, and I have not found a good answer for that yet. So unfortunately, no, is the answer that I would have right now. Is it possible to create our own categories and To-Do rather than pick a category. So when it comes to those categories, by the way, when we were in to do, just to show you what I mean by this, let me jump back here into to do. If I go to one of these tasks and, oops, let me pick a task here. If I go into these, pick a category, these categories can be modified. So you can have different names for these categories. So if I go into the red category, I don't have to keep it as red category. You can actually go in and rename these. So you can have all different categories with different names, just like we do with the labels in Microsoft Planner, just so you know. But you do have to choose which category you want it to be based on, because you could actually filter by category. Okay. Does one still have to add a comment first in the assigned card to get future notifications? Does one still have to add a comment first in the assigned card to get future notifications? Oh, are you referring to in Microsoft Planner? So let me go back to Planner here. When you have a task, are you referring to the conversation down at the bottom with the comments? Or are you referring to when you get assigned to the task? You get a notification for that. And then if you put in a due date, you're going to get notifications for when it's coming up being due, when it's late, if you don't mark it as completed, those kind of things. So Joseph, if you want to let me know a little bit more on what your question was.
Yeah, he just
Okay.
answered yes. That's that.
Okay. So you get notifications based on the due date, when it's coming up being due, when it's late. Those are the ones you'll get by default, but you could also create workflows for any other notifications that you may need. Okay, it's very powerful with workflows. Okay, and
While we're answering questions for Joe, I just want to
Yes.
go back to the question about, is there a way to restore a card if it's accidentally deleted?
Okay,
I'm gonna modify Jolene's answer of no to
good.
it depends,
Okay, good.
because I think there's a few different factors there that could come into play there where we might be able to bring it back. The first big variable is if you create a card and then immediately delete it, the odds of bringing that back is probably nil. That's good because there's nothing that would have captured that the card existed. In certain cases, and this is where I would have to do more research on 365 backup, because the data is captured as part of your 360, is within your 365 tenant. I would have to double check with our vendors if the vendors we work with to do 365 cloud to cloud backup would be able to capture and restore something. So hypothetically, you created a card 2 weeks ago, it sat there, was captured as part of a data set and synced as part of your cloud backup, then was deleted. There might be a way to bring it back, but might is the key word of that sentence, italics, bold, underline. So we'd have to look into it further, but I wanted to at least modify the answer from no to it depends, because it always kind of does on something.
Yep, glad you brought that up. Okay, I just wanted to come back into a plan and answer one of the questions. I did, Emily, just so you know, I responded to you. If I come into the filters, by the way, you can actually filter by multiple things. We don't have to filter just by date related. You can filter by who the task is assigned to as well. So for Nancy, you had asked, how do I see a list of tasks assigned to others by name? One of your options is going to be based on, and I happen to be in a plan. Let me get back to a different plan here. Let me go back to the accounting department, accounts payable, because this particular task list has more in it. Just so you could see group by bucket, I can click assign to. So I can see here's everything that Jolene is assigned to, project is assigned to, student one is assigned to, etc. Okay. Or you can do filter if you only want to see just the tasks based on a person. You could go to filter and then see all these different. I could say I want to go to assignment and I only want to see student one's tasks. Okay, so just so you know, you have different options for that. So these are all student one's tasks in grid view. Okay, so you have filters or group bys, and group bys are available when you're in the board view, by the way. The group by. Okay, I'm going to clear my filters, but Okay, so did we get all of them? I think we may have gotten all of them answered. Is there a way to restore a card? Is it possible to create your own categories? Yes, you can. Does you still have to comment? Assign tags. Okay, Dave, I think we got to all of those.
Okie doke. And I was trying to see if I could answer that backup question because now you've got me
here.
going down a rabbit hole, Joe, about whether we could recover individual cards in Planner. It's an interesting question.
Yeah,
So,
I've looked it up and I cannot find anything that says we can restore it.
yeah, I might not be restorable out of the Microsoft ecosystem, but what I'm curious about is third-party cloud backup because I'm not sure whether Planner is quite that granular. But I just wanted to remind folks, I mentioned it at the outset, if you're curious about future webinar sessions to join us, if you go to sourcepass.com/events, it'll bring you directly to this page. I mentioned how you can get here through the Insights menu as well, upcoming webinars. That brings you to this page as well. Jolynn will next be joining us on February 11th as we present Excel for finance professionals and accountants. It's not exclusively for that audience. If you are an Excel power user, this is just content that's going to be of particular use for folks who are working in a finance or accounting department or work as CPAs, so forth. So if you're looking for more in-depth Excel skills, this is a great opportunity if finance is your game. We also have a digital transformation session scheduled for next week on cloud scalability and operational efficiency, where we're going to be talking to our VP of Engineering, Robbie Sweeble, and a cast of dozens of friends as well, as we bring in some of our thought leadership from across the company to discuss such topics. So we'd love to see you there. Otherwise, I guess I hope everybody got value out of today's session. Please complete those surveys that will be sent your way. And we hope you gain something out of today's session and hope you'll join us for future sessions as well. Jolynn, any parting thoughts?
Well, I just say start taking those little scratch pieces of paper and stuff and putting them in to do. That'd be a great tip to get started today.
Create a to-do about organizing to-do. There you go. You got your first item. So thanks, everybody. Have yourselves a great rest of the day.
Thanks. Bye.